Aidoghie Paulinus, Abuja. The federal government has said that the statements by the United States, US, the United Kingdom, UK, and the European Union Election Observer Mission, EUEOM, on the suspension of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN, Justice Walter Onnoghen, portends tolerance for corrupt acts and the downplaying of the anti-corruption crusade of the Buhari administration. The government also said the statements signified alignment with the opposition and endorsement of its position that the ruling party, and by extension, the federal government of Nigeria, is working on rigging the forthcoming elections. This is the third time the government is reacting to statements by the US, the UK and the EU, having earlier said that the presidency will not bend rules or allow interference, and that the US, UK and the EU were not properly informed over concerns raised by the suspension of Onnoghen. In a statement by the spokesperson, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Aidoghie Aidoghie, the government stated that the statements were inimical to the well-being and development of Nigeria, given their nuisance value of promoting sectional and religious divide in the country, anarchy and retrogression. The federal government of Nigeria notes with deep concern statements made by representatives of foreign governments and international organizations resident in Nigeria, notably the Embassy of the United States of America, the High Commission of the United Kingdom, as well as the European Union Election Observer Mission, regarding the suspension of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN, which demonstrates serious and unacceptable interference in the internal affairs of Nigeria. The various statements, especially of those referred to above, appear prejudicial and signify alignment with the opposition and endorsement of its position that the ruling party, and by extension, the federal government of Nigeria, is working on rigging the forthcoming elections in Nigeria. These statements also portend tolerance for corrupt acts and downplay the anti-corruption crusade of the Buhari administration, knowing fully that the suspended CJN had not denied the charges against him and that probity requires of him to step aside while the case is under scrutiny. It is pertinent to underscore the unfortunate fact that statements, as referred above, are inimical to the well-being and development of Nigeria, given their nuisance value of promoting sectional and religious divide in the country, anarchy and retrogression. Now, more than any other time, Nigerians and true friends of Nigeria should be working towards repositioning Nigeria to realize her potential and sustainably provide the leadership expected of her. His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari had consistently demonstrated respect for the rule of law as a presidential candidate and as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and would engage in nothing to the contrary. He also remains a man of integrity who has severally pledged free and fair elections. It is therefore absurd to presume that the suspension of the CJN is geared towards rigging the forthcoming elections in favor of the ruling party. For the avoidance of doubt, be it known that on 3 occasions that Mr. President went to court as a presidential candidate and lost his case, in 2013, 2011 and 2007, the presiding judges at the Supreme Court were all Northerners and Muslims, Justice Muhammad Lawal Uwais, Idris Labokudiji and Dahiru Mustafa respectively. In fact, in one instance, the presiding judge at the appeal court was from Katsina State and the president's former classmate, yet, he lost the case. The minority judgments in his favor were given by 2 judges, both of them Southerners and Christians, Justices George Adesola Oguntodd and Sylvanus Nso4. Resident embassies and international organizations invited to observe the forthcoming elections must therefore be wary of being drawn into the camp of the opposition, otherwise their neutrality, which is the hallmark of election observers, becomes questionable. It is indeed unfortunate that foreign missions would align with the opposition and seek to negatively interpret actions by the federal government, no matter their positive basis and intention. Had the federal government been high-handed, would the opposition have been able to express its views even to the point of pouring invectives on Mr. President? How best can the corruption in the judiciary, which has enormously undermined the rights of the common man and made justice available only to the highest bidder, be best tackled than by ensuring that known cases are fundamentally tackled? Where is the rule of law, if justice is applied selectively? The government queried. The government further raised pertinent questions which, it said, the opposition and their sympathizers must reflect upon. Pertinent questions that the opposition and their sympathizers must reflect upon are, how has the action of Mr. President undermined the resolve for free and fair election? In what ways does it undermine the independence of the judiciary, except in the minds of the opposition and its cohorts? What right has a representative of a foreign government to incense an already volatile situation on the grounds that her government has invested heavily in the elections? It is insulting for any foreign representative to claim the right to interference in Nigeria's internal affairs, based on the premise that its government has invested heavily in the election, the government added. The government further said Nigeria had invested enormously over the years in election processes of many African countries and will continue to do so without interfering in their internal affairs. The government also said interference in Nigeria's internal affairs under any guise will therefore not be accepted. Representatives of foreign governments and organizations are therefore advised to tread with caution and desist from using the utterances and actions of opposition organizations.